Hello and welcome to Sharing Needles with Friends.
Welcome, guys. Gals.
We are sponsored by the wonderful people at Vinyl Me Please, which is a Record of the Month club, and they are pretty amazing.
They're amazing.
Each month you get a exclusive record that is pressed by Vinyl Me Please, and it comes to your door, and it's really pretty, and it sounds great.
Yeah.
And it comes with a 12 by 12 art print and a cocktail recipe that pairs nicely with the album.
Can't go wrong with that.
That's a bundle that you just want to have.
Yeah. For as low as $23 a month, you can go to vinylmeplease.com, and you also get access to the member store, which every month has rotating inventory.
Yeah.
And it's all good stuff, whether it's Vinyl Me Please exclusives or just things that they think you should hear and curate.
On my last package, I got the Mick Jenkins, The Waters.
Great record.
And it is phenomenal.
That pressing is awesome.
It was a exclusive pressing that Vinyl Me Please did. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's gorgeous.
I love it. I want that one too.
Yeah, you should get
I've
it.
just got the black version. I want that one.
Get it.
Looks like water.
Yeah, it does look like water.
Imagine that.
Ah.
The waters.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it?
We're also sponsored by Nothing Too Fancy, which is a local shop here in Knoxville, Tennessee that sells amazing things. It sells wonderful things by local and regional artists. They have
Shirts.
Sharing Needles with Friends stuff there. You can get mugs and slip mats and maybe shirts. They might still have some shirts left,
so.
but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, check them out at nothingtoofancy.com or Nothing Too Fancy Knoxville on the Instagram.
That's right. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or any other podcasting service and you feel the need and the desire
Yeah.
to give us some stars,
Yeah,
you can totally do that.
write
Be
a little
kind.
review.
We like the criticism.
We
kind.
don't like, okay, no, I
Be
don't
kind
like
with
the
the words.
criticism.
Right. We
Don't
like,
criticize
we like
me.
the praise. We love it when people love us.
We like it when people love us.
Right. So
Even if you don't, though, you can go tell us.
if you enjoy it,
I'm open for the fair market here.
I mean, it really only makes the show better, right?
It does. Let's get into that show. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey,
How
glad
you
you
guys
could all
doing?
make it.
Yeah.
Glad you
so
could make it.
we got a great show tonight, don't we, Gene?
Really great show.
Yeah.
Very excited about tonight.
All right,
We
go
have a
ahead. Why don't you
special
go ahead
guest.
and just tell them what we got going on tonight?
Yeah, so there are some bands you may have heard of in your past of listening to music.
And if you haven't, then you should.
Exactly. Let's see. There's Blank.
Uh-huh.
There's Liars Academy. There's Dead Red Sea.
Just cross my
And
heart.
there's Cross My Heart. Yeah.
And there's Desert Boys, even
And
though
there's Desert
as
Boys.
we get into it, you haven't heard that.
Not many people have heard that.
Yeah.
That is very small. Ryan Shelkett,
Yeah.
the brainchild behind all of these.
Brainchild.
Guitarist extraordinaire, lyricist, and vocalist extraordinaire.
Oh, okay.
We just had a nice lengthy hour-and-a-half conversation with him, and
It was
we
fantastic. Super sweet. Great dude.
I'm so excited we finally had him on the show because this was something we talked about forever ago. Didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now we've circled back around. Finally made it happen.
Yeah.
So we want to thank Ryan very much for gracing us.
Yeah. I
with-
love it when we get to have interviews with just awesome people on here.
And it was easy conversation, lots of fun. So give it a listen. And I don't know if you're not familiar, Liars Academy, start there. That's my personal.
Yeah.
I would just say no news.
Yeah, start there. That's a great starting
It's
place.
an amazing place. Demons, also great record. Cross My Heart.
You can't really
It's
go
really
wrong.
hard.
You
It's really hard.
just like throw a dart at the discography, and then I think
Good
it'll be
idea.
all right.
That's right.
It'll be fine.
So we're gonna get into this. It's an interview with Ryan Shelkett of Liars Academy.
Enjoy.
We are joined tonight with Ryan Shelkett. Hello.
Yes, very
Say
excited
hello.
to have you on.
From bands you may know, such as Liars Academy, Cross My Heart, Dead Red Sea, and Blank. That's a lot. That's a lot. You've got a lot to your credit, man.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, isn't there?
There's a few, and I haven't always been super familiar with Blank, but I actually went back and listened to it because I've got the Cross My Heart record, I've got Dead Red Sea, and I'm a huge Liars Academy fan. Tell us, let's just start at the beginning. Let's just start with Blank.
Where did it all begin?
Where did it all begin, Ryan? Where did you start this musical journey, and how did you get to 2017?
I like how you use musical journey too.
Of your musical journey.
Yeah.
Musical journey.
That started in roughly 93-ish?
92.
92.
Okay.
92 was when it started. You know, I it was right after high school is when that band officially started, but before that it was, playing with some high school buddies, and some of those guys eventually went on to help me do Blank, but did a bunch of different bands during that time. And right after high school started Blank and, rushed into recording. I got the guys together and we put together, back then, you did a cassette,
Right.
a demo tape, right?
Yep.
So we did that and, started playing some shows and it went really well. And, just kept playing. The following year, put out our first 7-inch, which was the next big, that was the big thing.
That's
to put
a
out
milestone
a single,
right there.
Yeah, when you can put out a 7-inch,
absolutely.
especially as a record lover, that's a big step.
Yeah, it was cool. I think we were opening for this Detroit band called Mule at a rock club, and this guy that was from DC had a little label. Liked what he heard. We got friendly, and he put out the record, and that was the start of that. And during all of that time, I was got to know this guy named Tony Joy, who he had a record label called Vermin Scum, and he was in Moss Icon, and he was doing Universal Order of Armageddon at that time.
Oh wow,
Moss Icon. I love some Moss Icon.
Yeah,
Universal
and
Order. Holy shit.
Yeah, and I was friends with the Moss Icon drummer, and friends with Tony, and they were a big inspiration to me, and we worked with them as well to do a single on Vermin Scum, which was a nice badge for me. That was exciting.
Totally.
They were a big deal in the Maryland, punk hardcore scene.
Exactly, yeah.
Was
there like a really big punk rock scene at that time when Blank started up in Maryland?
It was really, Maryland was kind of connected to DC and inspired a lot by DC.
Right.
So, where DC, a lot of the shows, a lot of these bands that have gone on to become completely, iconic and influential, a lot of the shows that that they were performing at were, fire halls, CFWs, it wasn't giant rock clubs,
right.
But it was robust. People were inspired.
Yeah.
It was a good time, and this is the early 90s.
Yeah.
So you also had, at the same time, you had similar type of music totally exploding.
Yeah.
In the mainstream, right? And everybody was kind of benefiting from that. And it was funny, I just remember there were kids in high school, bullied me or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't give me the time of day.
Right.
A year later, they were coming to the shows.
Oh,
yeah, that's when you're the cool guy. After high school's over.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was definitely odd, and it's something that I noticed. But I mean, as far as the scene, the Maryland scene, and it wasn't just Baltimore. It was Annapolis and Baltimore, which are about 40 minutes apart, something like that. And there were suburbs, a lot of kids from the suburbs that were really being engaged with it, and it was a great time. We did a lot of shows in many different places, and we would play just about anywhere.
So that's awesome. That's kind of like Knoxville is a good spot for that, because like we've got 2.5 hours west, we've got Nashville, and then locally, obviously Knoxville has a decent scene, but then there's Johnson City.
Right.
There's Morristown. Then you go up north and you're in like Lexington, Kentucky, and Louisville has a decent scene. So like within 4 hours, like from where we're at, there's just so many little spots that you can hit.
Yeah, like 3.5 from Cincinnati, and then the other way we're about 3.5, 4 from Atlanta. So it's a good little.
It's good to be in a zone like
section.
that. Yeah, and so having DC as well, I'm sure that helped tremendously when you were starting like touring.
And that's a unique time period too, like early '90s, near the DC scene and stuff like that. That's one of those like time periods where you're like, damn, I wish I could go see some shows that happened in and around this place during this time period.
It was amazing, I mean, I haven't really thought about it in a while, but I mean, I think somewhere I've got a box of old flyers, and
oh man,
there's one show that really stands out, and it was it was Moss Icon, Jawbox, Velocity Girl, and Tsunami, and it was $5.
Oh my
God!
And that was probably 91.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was
amazing.
tons of shows like that, and the thing is, you look at that roster, and there's a common thread for sure, but musically, it was diverse, and that's what I remember about the early 90s is that, we would play with lots of different types of bands, and it was okay, and it was cool. And
now everything gets like so subcompacted with like genre, like everything has
really
to,
is.
It gets pigeonholed, like totally.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to see one band, every band on that bill is probably going to sound very similar to the one band you're going to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they're not, good luck.
Yeah, totally.
Most people are going to be standing outside smoking until the band they came to see plays, and then it like filters back in. And it's so weird because like I think that it's very important. Obviously, you can't throw a country band with, or like even an alt country like Ryan Adams with something that's, heavy.
Yeah.
Obviously there's, common sense.
Ryan Adams probably could break the.
Yeah, that's true. He could.
He could mend the fence, I believe.
But, common sense comes to play, and you can realize you can mix genres, and all you're doing is exposing extra, people to the scene that they might not be involved in otherwise.
It depends on the scene, I think, because sometimes you get the snobby scenes that they don't even want to deal with that kind of stuff. Man.
That's true.
Yeah, it definitely, more in the cities, I'm sure it's like that. But, back 25 years ago, it was, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot going on. I look at my hometown in Baltimore, and 25 years ago, there was a handful of places to play. You had to find places.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to. They weren't legal places. They were, they had maybe a show or two, and they were done.
Yeah.
Now the city has, 15 venues, legal bar clubs, and
that's true.
That it's a luxury, but it's also, I mean, it definitely kind of cannibalizes. I mean, there's only so many people, and
right.
When there's a show or multiple shows happening 7 nights a week,
that burns people out quick. Yeah,
it does. It does. But it was definitely a different time. When we started, and it was definitely also one of those kind of things that I look back, and it almost seems like a different life, or like it didn't happen. It was so long ago now, but but no, it was fun. I mean, being in Blank was very, very great. I had such a wonderful time with it. It was, that was the band that really kind of
brought you into it,
got me in shape musically, and I really was able to kind of test what I could do. And, toward the end of that band, and there was many different members in and out, but at the end, I felt like the band was finally the band that I always wanted it to be.
Oh man.
And and then we broke up,
God.
That's what usually happens.
That's
though,
true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then came Cross My Heart though. So, and
yes.
I mean, dude, I love Cross My Heart.
Man, me too.
I mean, there are no words to how beautiful that music is. And your lyrics, man, that's
something like
it's special
across the board. I've always been impressed by your lyrics. That's one of my favorite parts about your projects.
I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Well, Cross My Heart was definitely a weird band, because a lot of the success that Cross My Heart had in the beginning was
MTV.
from relationships that I created from blank.
Yeah.
So, when we put out our records, they were on Steve Aoki's label on Dimmock, and I'd met Steve right at the tail end of Blank, and it was so funny because I remember Steve and I connected, and he had gotten some Blank stuff. It's like, Ryan, this is like the best. Like, I want to put out your record, and I was like, I want you to too, but we just broke up. But he's like, oh man, that sucks. And I was like, but I got a brand new band, and like I'd thought about. I didn't even really have a new band. I think I was like putting on my salesman, hat here, and it was just the idea.
Wait till you hear what's next.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm in. Send it to me. I want. I know I want to do it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'd started talking to John at Deep Elm,
right?
Because Blank had played a show or two with Camber, one of the really early Deep Elm bands, and I had talked to Barry Lott, who was the singer of Camber, and he passed along some of our stuff to John, and he called me and wanted us to be on one of those emo diary things.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And,
remember those. Those were so great.
Yeah. I mean,
those were great
unfortunate name, but really good comps, especially the first few.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but that's not to say that, Cross My Heart excelled on its own merit for sure.
Yeah.
Just, it circumstance and motion kind of led me to that. So it set it up really nicely. But, Cross My Heart was one of those things that, I took so much control in Blank. Like I was very, very, this is my song. Let me present it to you. The guys would play it, do their own thing. But a lot of those songs I wrote myself.
Yeah.
And Cross My Heart, there was some of that. And, but there was a lot of just us getting together and feeling it out and just playing. And the mood, the atmosphere, the identity of the band really just kind of happened really organically. And it was really a really fun time. And it all happened very fast.
Yeah.
And it was a very short-lived band,
Yeah, I know. And you guys put out, the self-titled The Reason I Failed History and Temporary Contemporary, which like that within that amount of time, again, begs the question for me as a songwriter, how do you have that many lyrics floating around in your head to write that much solid material? Because Liars Academy came right after this.
Yeah. And
that's just, for me, like the amount of writing you did within like, I don't know, say 5 years is just intense.
Well, I think at that time I was really charged. I was so focused on music. It was the only thing I lived for. It was the only thing like I wanted to do. And I was really, really in tune with myself.
Yeah.
And I think with Cross My Heart, like I went through a really, just being young, I was in my early 20s when that band started. I think Blank probably ended when I was 24, and Cross My Heart started a month or two later. And right at the beginning of Cross My Heart, I went through a breakup, and it really affected me and in a way that I didn't think I was capable of. I thought I was like pretty tough, but it really crushed me.
Yeah.
And it crushed me because it crushed my ego, and it crushed my it shook me.
Right.
And what happened was that, where in Blank I was writing more kind of personal, political, like this is my stance, this is how I feel about my life and what's going on around me, all that stuff. Where Cross My Heart was way more introspective and kind of, forced me to get some of these feelings out that I hadn't ever shared, and it was really naked, and I was a little nervous about being so open, but I think ultimately it worked, and I was able to kind of connect the lyrics the approach to the way I sang them and the music, and it all came together in a very perfect kind of way.
Yeah.
And, as far as in that 5-year period, it just, there was just a lot of activity. There was a lot going on, and we were just kind of riding a wave. I was just, along for the ride. And, I think that, the Cross My Heart stuff, a lot of it really holds up well. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but
I can tell you it does.
From what I remember.
It holds up extremely well. And so does, so I listened to this record on a regular basis, but No News is Good News. That was the record from Liars Academy that made me like obsessed, because I felt like the lyrics on this record were more like introspective and like almost like a lot of times self-deprecating, and kind of basically just like showing, hey, life sucks, and just like, this is your life, get used to it. That line alone, like seriously, that I was going through like a period of time when I got that record where it was kind of a similar situation of like, a breakup, or, you're in your early 20s, and it's like, no, this is what life is. And I feel like I connected with that record because of that, and because of how the lyrics made me realize, oh shit, yeah, other people do feel exactly how I feel, without, making it, I don't want to go like, there are some emo records that get very over dramatic, but then, you've got like No News is Good News, where it's just like straight up telling
it's blunt.
How it is.
It's
exactly.
It's a blunt vulnerability, and it hits perfectly well.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem forced. It just seems super solid.
Yeah.
I think vulnerable is a good word. It really is. And the thing that I was very conscious about after Cross My Heart with Liars Academy was, I don't want to be so open.
Yeah.
I want to, like, was it enough? I really said, like, that's it. I'm not doing that again.
I'm leaving this town and I won't be back for you. I mean, come on. Lyrics like that. I mean, seriously, how pissed off and angry were you? Like, but it's amazing because I can relate so much. Like, it's unreal. It's unreal. I'm gonna spout out lyrics. Keep in mind.
He'll probably do that. He'll just spout out your own lyrics towards you, over and over again.
I love this record a tremendous amount, so I might just shout lyrics at you as you're talking. But I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. I probably have forgotten them, so that's good. I think with that first record, and we did about half of that record we demoed, and. By the time we did No News is Good News, some of those songs we've been kicking around since we had started. And when I say since we had started, it was only a couple months in between. It was, and Evan, Evan.
And he was also in Cross My Heart.
Together.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. And that
fantastic
guy,
drummer. Oh my God.
Oh my God. He's still amazing, and he's ridiculous, and he'll be the first guy to tell you he's not, but he is. He is. He's a drummer.
He's a badass. I mean, like Derek and I were playing in bands at this time.
Yeah.
And he was a drummer that I highly looked up to, like at that time period of my life. So no, he's up there. He's got major skill.
He definitely does. I mean, when you think about
precision,
if you want to start a real super like awesome just rock band, if you can't get Dave Grohl, you go, I mean, the guy's that good, right?
He really is.
He is.
Yeah.
So how did you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse. I mean, just like some of the fills that he uses throughout the record, it's like, wow, okay, so that was very understated, but at the same time, very difficult.
Yeah.
Huh. How can you be simplistic, but also like extremely technical and that the drums are just great. They're great. Derek, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just going to ask that, because was this the first thing you worked with Equal Vision? How did you get in contact with Equal Vision? How did that all come about?
Oh, yeah, Equal Vision. I think, so Liars Academy, when it started, was Evan and I, we came from Cross My Heart, and I had met this guy, Matt Smith, and he had joined this band called The Exploder.
Yeah.
Who Blank and The Exploder had some history, and we played a bunch together. We were good buddies, and he joined that band. And, you know, when I was in Cross My Heart, I think we played some Exploder shows. We even did like a split single together.
Nice.
And Matt, I think it was just one day, he was just kind of hanging out in Baltimore, and he was in this band Strike Anywhere
Oh,
at that time. And
very familiar with that band.
Cross My Heart played at Steve Aoki's house with Strike Anywhere.
Oh, nice.
And Steve had this little tiny, you know, thing. It was called the Pickle Patch, and it fit about 30 people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, but it was like the highlight of the tour. I remember, you know, it was in Santa Barbara, and we would, you know, Cross My Heart was tour. I was like, oh, I get to see Steve. It's going to be awesome. Oh, who are we playing with? Oh, it's Strike Anywhere. And I was like, who are those guys? And, you know, it was like, oh, it's the guy from Inquisition. I was like, oh, yeah, I played with them when I was in Blank. So, you know, we kind of knew each other a little bit. And, you know, I didn't realize that Matt was in that band and he was an Exploder. So it was like, oh, this is cool. And then we kind of kept in touch. And, you know, Matt, we were looking for a bass player, and Matt, you know, volunteered, and we got together and played. It was great.
That's awesome.
But to answer your question about Equal Vision, I think Equal Vision was interested in Strike Anywhere. And Strike Anywhere had already decided to sign with Jade Tree.
Yeah.
But Matt was still in touch with them and said, hey, come check out my other band. And they did, and, you know, I think they kind of heard Across My Heart, and, you know, oh, it's okay. So, and, you know, they really liked the stuff, and, you know, the owner, Steve Reddy, really liked the No News stuff, and we had a lot of positive support, and it felt like the good move. So we decided to go for it, and it was a good move.
That's
you know,
awesome.
I mean, it was they're a great label, and
I mean, they've put out some amazing bands. I mean, like you were on Lusitania with Fairweather. We loved those guys.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I love Fairweather. Yeah,
So incredible.
You know, I actually saw a bunch of those guys back in August. I went to
sweet.
to finally see Drive Like Jehu
Oh my
awesome.
God.
in DC.
Love
and
them.
You know, and it was like a reunion show. I saw so many people I haven't seen in years, and I saw a bunch of the Fairweather guys, and yeah, I love that band. I love those guys. You know, we had such a great time touring with those guys.
That's awesome. There was actually
brotherhood.
A friend of ours who is unfortunately passed played bass with them for a little while.
Short little run.
Yeah. His name was Gabe. He played with them. I remember seeing them with him in St. Louis. But I remember meeting those guys and getting to hang out with them, and they were all just like the sweetest dudes ever. Like just all amazing. This was the Creepy Crawl was where we were.
Oh, yeah.
Up in
I remember the Creepy Crawl. That's
St.
Is
Louis.
that St. Louis?
Yeah. We hung out with them there. It was them and Zayo that night, and which was a very strange show, but it was amazing. And then we all hung out and like went and got diner food afterwards, and it was super fun. But yeah, I remember those guys being really, really cool. And then the drum sound on If They Move, Kill Them.
Oh yeah,
that's.
I remember we were in the studio and they were like, "Okay, what kind of drums do you want?" And
This
Gene's
record.
like, I want this record's drums. Yeah.
That drum sound was solid. That was solid. But okay, so anyway, back to Liars Academy. So I remember seeing you guys. I want to say it was 2002 because let's see, No News is Good News came out in 2001, so it would have been around that, like really close. But yeah, it was in Johnson City at a friend of ours that we've played in bands, you know, in the scene with.
Yeah.
They moved to Johnson City from Knoxville, which is about an hour.
No, about 2 hours.
2 hours.
About 2 hours away.
And they made their house their venue, basically. And that was where I got to catch you for the first time, which was amazing because that place was tiny. But yet people came out, and it was amazing.
I do remember that show. And I remember that show when that tour was being booked, because that was with Branson, I believe.
Yep, it was. Yeah.
Oh man.
And
that's crazy.
That tour was fantastic. And the funny thing is, the tour kept getting longer and longer because more places wanted us to come play.
Well, that's a great thing.
And yeah, and I think Johnson City was one of those places that added to the extension of the tour, and it you know, it kind of grew. And Yeah, I remember that. I remember having a great time there, and like I said, Johnson City. It's always been one of those places that I just have a really good feeling about.
Yeah.
Because every time I've been there, I've had a really great time. I've had a great show. I've had a really good time just hanging out. All the people have been like super positive. And
have you ever been through Knoxville by any chance?
I know I've played Knoxville, but I can't remember when the last time it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, we're not Nashville, but we get like
we're not Nashville.
Occasionally, really cool stuff comes through here. And it's a little bit bigger than Johnson City, so it's kind of a bigger scene town. But I remember Johnson City having some really good shows.
Johnson City's got a cool little underground scene, and it's still to this day they do. It's pretty awesome.
It's insane.
That's cool. So you guys are both in Knoxville, right?
Right.
So isn't that where Superdrag is from?
That is
absolutely
exactly
where it's
from.
Yep.
Awesome. That band was a great band.
They're so amazing. And they're really good people too. And then John's got that
Lee's of
new
Memory.
Band, Lee's of Memory.
Lee's of Memory is great as well.
I don't know if you've checked that out or not, but if you liked Superdrag, I mean, Lee's of Memory, they follow that line really well. It's really, really solid.
Nice. I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, I have quite a bit of Superdrag stuff. I've always been a big fan. We got to play with them in Massachusetts. Liars Academy did, and
awesome.
And I think we were trying to work out some kind of like tour with them.
I would have enjoyed that
never
show.
Materialized, but that would have been a great tour.
Yeah,
totally.
That would have been incredible.
Yeah.
God. Okay, so then when Dead Red Sea came along, Liars Academy was still going, correct?
Well, Dead Red Sea was just basically a side project and it was recorded during the time I was in Cross My Heart. But the record ended up coming out right around the same time as No News is Good News.
Okay. That makes sense.
We didn't, it was just a couple buddies of mine, and we maybe did a little bit of touring, but it was more it was one of those kind of like side projects where it was kind of a singer-songwriter thing meets total jam session, and it's cool. I mean, actually, when I look back at everything I've done, the Dead Red Sea record is like tops for me. It's one of the best. Yeah, it's one that I really, really connect with.
It needs a vinyl pressing.
There's a couple songs.
It does definitely need a vinyl pressing. I would love to have that on vinyl.
I know, me too. Me too. The fact that that's not on vinyl is a total crime.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So then we had Dead Red Sea, and then after that, what have you done since then? I know of the Desert Boys, but what else happened in that time between then and now? Basically, really.
Well,
Well,
yeah. Well, with Liars Academy kind of, it really faded away, and after the second full length came out, Demons. We played a bunch. We really, really gave it our all, and it just didn't connect and didn't really happen. And then, we kind of had some more personnel changes. Put out another single, and then probably by 2007, we tried to give it one more last push, and it just, the energy, the wind was not on our backs any longer. And we decided to kind of call it a day. And I was so excited because I was so happy just to retire. I said, forget it. I'm done. I'm so done. And, I'm done with the music industry because it was still an industry at that point where it was still, about selling records, and, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And
it loses its fun when it
does
gets to that
completely.
point.
When it becomes business, the music loses all of its fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just got to the point where it was like, what's the next tour? Who are you going to do it with? And, you've got what are your Polestar numbers? What are your SoundScan numbers? I was just like, are you kidding me? You kidding me?
Right.
What happened to like art? What happened,
Yeah,
you know, to
exactly.
expressing yourself?
Yep.
Right. It really did. I mean, you know, unfortunately, you know, I got kind of wrapped up into this whole thing called emo. I remember being labeled as emo in 1992, and I had no idea what anyone was talking about.
Yeah.
And it never left.
Yeah.
And it never left.
That's true.
But then that whole genre, you know, in the early 90s, it was a bunch of guys with beards, like screaming and crying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Guys with beards crying.
Yeah.
And then,
It became something
then
radically
became
different in the 2000s.
Oh yeah. 2000s
It
was.
totally
yeah.
did. It became this like, I mean, some of these bands weren't all that different sounding than Avril Lavigne at the time.
No,
and,
that's true.
you know, and these were called emo bands. But here I was, and some of my peers being lumped into this new thing, it really was just pop punk, really,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
me. You know, I mean, that's what emo became, or it kind of took that name and, you know, relabeled pop punk to that. But, you know, anyway, it just, you know, by 2007, you know, I'd been doing it for 15 years.
Right.
You know, I was just like, I need to take some time. So I decided to kind of get into the real world and, you know, got a job.
The real world.
And the real world.
Yeah.
And I took my other passion and got into the toy industry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
How
you know,
so?
Yeah. Like what were you doing in toys?
Well, I've always been as much of a music collector and enthusiast. I've also been a, you know, like vintage toy enthusiast and comic book nerd too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
And
I've got
realized
a ton of comics. So many.
yeah, I mean, I'm in my basement office and I literally have a pallet of comics. A pallet.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
And there's overflow of that.
Oh man.
But so the last remaining distributor is in my hometown, just outside of Baltimore, called Diamond.
Yeah.
And you know, realized, well, oh man, Diamond, I'd go get a job here. I got in there, got, you know, into the sales department, kind of worked my way up, and kind of really liked it. You know, I mean,
That's
I was
awesome.
working with product and, you know, building programs in retail and working on, you know, developing exclusive things and all kinds of cool stuff.
That's
that
awesome.
was totally different, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But during that time, though, music didn't quite leave me. It kind of came back, and you know, I had
It never
friends
goes
like,
away.
"Hey, it never goes away, right?"
It really
I mean,
doesn't.
so you know, Matt Smith comes back, and a couple of my other buddies, we get together, and we start playing, and at the time, we wanted to do something different, more kind of American rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where that Desert Boys thing came from.
That's awesome.
And we did that for a few years, and we recorded a record with at Brian McTernan's studio. It sounds fantastic. It sounds like, I mean, a beautifully recorded record. The songs are amazing, and no one's ever heard it.
Yeah. What happened with the release of that? Like, you've got this beautiful record, and then it never got released. Like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why did it never? Why is it still never heard? Like, the world has not like gotten to experience it yet.
I know. I think, and the funny thing is, I think in my sock drawer I've got an envelope full of cash that could probably pay for it.
Oh, right. There's that. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why any of us haven't said we have to put this out.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see those guys once in a while, and then, you know, it'll get late and beers keep coming, and they're like, "No, what's happening tonight? We're putting it out." You know,
Surprise release.
it never happens. So
Yeah.
I do want to release it at some point.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's such a great record, and people, you know, if anyone hears it, it would be great. But, you know, again, like the Dead Red Sea not being on vinyl.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Yeah.
true.
I think we just honestly, I I think it's just, when I started with Blank, I was very do it myself, and I did a lot of things myself, and I depended on myself. Then when kind of Cross My Heart happened in Liars Academy, I had everybody doing it all for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think during all that, I kind of lost the idea of like, well, how do I do this?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like,
The whole
I don't even
DIY
know.
aesthetic just went away.
Yeah.
Like, wait, how do I book a show?
I just like, I forgot how to do anything for myself. So maybe there's a part of that, but there's also just, you know, just maybe no real desire. Just kind of like, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But whatever. Yeah. I mean, you know, I would like to release it. I you know, talking about it now, I'm starting to get the idea like, oh yeah, I forgot about that record. Yeah, maybe I should, you know,
but it
push
exists
to get it out. But
it's like not even something that needs to be recorded. Like it's done. It's there. It's like, it is a record.
Right.
Yeah. It's done. It's mixed. It's all it needs to be, you know, sent to mastering and pressed.
Yeah.
It's ready to go.
That's crazy.
But, you know, I did that, and then, you know, that kind of took its toll. And really what happened, you know, I kind of got a job, was doing Desert Boys, you know, got married, had some kids. Life got really complicated and really,
that
you
happens.
know.
We are there.
Yeah. Both of us.
Are you guys there? Do you guys have kids?
Yeah.
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 It's
so you can imagine, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it makes it tough even just to do your podcast on a weekly basis.
It does. We have to carve out like a Sunday. Every Sunday is when we have carved out. This is our time
like
that we are doing this.
Yeah.
And we just try our best not to break it.
And for 3 years, we've managed to do it.
Yeah.
Like we've done this for 3 years, and so far, like really never really. Every now and then, there's like a cancellation, but overall, we stick
that
with it.
right there is amazing. I will say the fact that you've been able to keep that going for 3 years and hold that day, it's fantastic. I mean,
having
because
interviews like yourself, you know, gives us a reason to keep doing it. You know, I mean, we do a lot of episodes that are just,
you know, music news. And taking questions, and we love doing those, but we love it to get someone on that we've respected their music for a long time. So we don't have a lot of interviews on because we were lazy about that kind of stuff.
We are very lazy about that. Yeah, it's a thing.
But every once in a while, we're like, you know, let's do this.
We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like we need this person. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And
well, I appreciate you guys, Gene. I appreciate you reaching out to me because
man.
you know, on the same token, it's it's why the Desert Boys record isn't out. I'm lazy too. You know, like you know, unless someone's just like, hey Ryan, I hear you got a Desert Boys record in the vault. You know, I want to put it out.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you. That's probably the only way it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, you know, laziness really. People don't talk about it, but that really, you know, what have you been doing, Ryan? I've been lazy.
Yeah,
I've been doing a lot of music. Yeah.
I'm
but,
married
you know,
and I have a child.
I say that, you know, I haven't really though. I mean, I have been very busy with music. I just haven't let anyone hear it.
Right.
Right.
And so lately have you been working on some other stuff like solo, more solo stuff?
Yeah. So it was about,
this sounds like it's an undertaking.
This is gonna break it down right here.
Yeah. Get ready.
Now the thing I'm working on right now is something that these songs kind of came to me, and after Desert Boys again, I just went through. I was very exhausted, and I was happy to kind of just be free of it for a while.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I just started writing like relentlessly.
Yeah.
Like multiple songs a day, like a crazy person. Like I'm serious.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I was just grabbing my iPhone and recording them, and I was just like, wow, these are killer songs. What's happened? What's wrong with me? You know? And just so happened that the original drummer from Blank called me up right around that time and said, hey, I hear you're not really playing. I'm not playing either, but if you want to get together, I could put together some guys. And I said,
oh, well.
All right, let's do it.
Well then.
And it was really great, and I had a great time. And, it was funny. I was writing a song or so a day, and I was just texting it to the guys. Learn this tonight.
Yeah.
Just wrote it.
That's insane.
And I would get down there, And I was just singing along. Some of the songs I would record and, kind of muddle through vocal phrases and lyrics. And then I would record another version, which was just music. And then I would write the song as I was driving, because it was a little bit of a commute.
Yeah.
And then it got even so crazy that sometimes I didn't have a song for that night. And I would write the music in my head with the melody, with the lyric, and then perform it.
Oh,
that's
God.
insane.
Yeah,
that's just crazy.
That is some and I know.
My
It sounds
brain
like those
doesn't work
songs
that
are
way.
like they're begging to come out of you.
I was so excited
Like,
when I pulled it off. I really was. I mean, to just kind of like have the melody, envision the melody in your head
That's
of the
insane.
music,
yeah.
and then the vocal counter melody, and then the idea, like the feeling of the song.
Ryan, you literally
And,
have music bursting out of your head. Like
yeah,
you have
that's
to.
what's
Really
happening
did.
right now.
Really did. But the thing is, I knew I had to act quick on it, because that stuff's fleeting.
Yeah,
and,
it totally is.
When you're hot, you're hot. And now it's like I can't write a song right now.
Yeah.
Like I get my guitar and I'm like, God, I suck. I'm just nothing's happening. So when that inspiration happens, you got to kind of take it. And I knew I was on a roll, and we did 2 recording sessions, and I'm still trying to finish up the last one, which is with Jay Robbins, and it sounds fantastic so far.
As that
it's,
would,
it's
yeah.
going to, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm, all I have to do is finish 3 more songs for vocals, and then I get to shelve that one also.
Oh my God! Oh, let's not say that. Let's not say that.
Man.
Oh God!
No, this record is one that I was working hard and saving a lot of money, because I really wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
I really wanted this thing to be totally DIY. Get it recorded myself, press it myself, all of that. But, it was just one of those things where it's just like life gets in the way, and you're like, oh, great. My hot water heater went up, and I've got to waterproof my basement, and, there goes my record budget, and it just, you're screwed.
This is real stuff. I mean, it's the same as being a record collector.
Yeah.
Something breaks at your house, and you're like, oh man, that's less records this week or month. Oh no.
Absolutely. I do think that this record will get out in some form. I just need to get it finished, and I'm really close, but I really feel passionate about it. So this is one that I can't wait for people to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very excited to hear it as well. I mean, that's, I don't know. It's due, like the last release that you put out properly was like 2002, 2003 ish.
2003 or 2004.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's due. The world needs it now.
The world needs to hear this, Ryan.
Yeah. So we've got some questions from some of our listeners. Before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about your you collect records, and you have for a little while. Derek and I are both very, very, very big collecting nerds, and we spend, we're the type that spend more money than you should.
It's an unhealthy amount.
It's an unhealthy
of money on records.
Habit to have. Yeah. How bad is your collecting habit?
I go through spells. So, there are times I have this kind of disease. It's the collector disease. Yeah. And you guys might be able to relate to it, and something will trigger it. And when that trigger happens, you'll spend just about any amount of money to get what you need. And, it could be a story. It could be, you hear a song on the radio and you're in, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I do go through spells, and, I went through probably last year, I was really having a hard time connecting with anything new.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I said, well, screw it, and I got the Spotify, monthly subscription, just so I could just check out
stuff.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, hear things. And I said, well, it's kind of like Amazon, where like if you really don't know what you want, you're kind of screwed.
That's
you know,
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's recommendations, but you kind of have to know what you want.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, let me check out some stuff. Let me go with the past.
Yeah.
And I decided to start checking out some bands that I was very, very well aware of, knew a lot of their songs, but didn't really know their full catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And one band in particular I just kind of stumbled upon was Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Always good. Yeah.
And you know, it's like I grew up with Queen. I knew all their singles,
Yeah.
and you know, but didn't really sesh out on the whole stuff, the full catalog. And when I did, I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
this is amazing. So it like totally inspired me. And then I went on this like classic 70s rock type of journey, this odyssey, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm still kind of on it, where I'm just
That's awesome.
going through and just making sure I didn't miss any crucial element of rock and roll, you know,
Wow.
which is kind of fun. You know, just to go through and pick a month and go like Pink Floyd, I'm going
Right.
to do it. I'm going to get really familiar with all this, like it or not. I'm going to
Yeah.
know it.
Was Steely
You know?
Dan's Asia, was that in the 70s?
Oh, Steely Dan's Asia is one of the best albums that's ever been made.
Derek's
Gene.
very, very into Steely Dan's Asia.
Big Steely Dan.
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's tried many times to show me the light, so to speak.
It's not even like I'm really into like that era or style of music, but for some reason, Steely
The production.
Dan just it does it for me. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
No, the production of that record is
It's flawless.
stupid.
Yeah,
Like I don't understand the allure of the band overall, but I get that record.
yeah.
Like it's got
It's a good one.
some deep grooves. Deep grooves. So there was nothing in 2016 that really like jumped out at you as far as new music?
Let me think. There are a couple new things that I've been digging, but really,
What's
I've
in your
become
iPhone,
one of those.
Ryan?
What's that?
What's in your iPhone, man? What do you got in your iTunes library right now?
Well, let's see. I wouldn't say 2016, but I really, really dug that Bon Iver record, the
Yeah.
Bon Iver,
Yeah.
Bon Iver. Love it.
What did you think of
and
the
new
newest
record
one?
I like as well.
Yeah, okay.
I like it. I don't like it as much. I will say it really hits a peak. I think around maybe track 3 to 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
It does
but there's
kinda
a
get
lot of weird
redundant.
there's a lot of weird alien Smurf stuff happening on that record that throws me off a little bit.
I get
But
that.
there is some really cool stuff. I've been really digging that band Strand of Oaks.
Oh yeah,
I
Strand of
got,
Oaks is great.
Fantastic.
I've got the first record.
Yeah, I don't think
I haven't
I've
heard
got the
anything
second.
since that one. What was the first record? The one that's got him on the cover.
Was it self-titled? Or
Was it?
I don't know.
I don't
Is
think
it
so.
Heel?
Yes,
Yes,
Heel.
it is
That was
Heel.
it. Yeah,
Heel.
I've got that record.
I
It's
think
great.
that's actually his third record.
Oh,
I think
my
there's
God.
a couple before that, but they're really different. They're kind of folky and more like
That record
lo-fi.
had a really cool like vibe to it, and the drums, I swear, are programmed.
Yeah, I felt like it was programmed drums, but
But
I
they also
wasn't
sound-
quite sure.
They also sound real enough to be real, but I feel like they're programmed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It hit
I
me.
think the technique was there's real drums there, but they also use that Jan Hammer Miami Vice type feel to it,
Yeah.
which the program drums over top.
Oh, that's.
I
okay.
don't
Makes
know,
sense.
but it feels there's definitely some songs in there that like have this Miami Vice thing going
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
and I love it.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's something
I-
that feels
I know exactly what
processed
you're
about the
talking about.
drums, and it's good. Like
Yeah.
it works for the songs.
You know, that guy's got a new record coming out this week, and
Oh, it's this
the
week.
song that I heard was amazing, and I pre-ordered the record, and I very rarely
Nice.
pre-order new records, so that says something if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pre-order a record, right?
Definitely.
So definitely digging that. You know, I'm definitely one of those legacy type artists.
Mm.
Like I support a lot of artists that I've loved over the years.
Right.
If Bob Mould puts out a new record,
Exactly.
I'm buying it.
Yeah, totally.
Guided by Voices puts out 5 new records this year. I'm buying them all.
Yeah.
Which is likely. They put out a lot of
That's
records.
true.
They've got so
They
many
do.
records.
They do. And
It's insane.
And I love them.
Oh,
I mean, Guided by Voices, that they take up the most real estate in my collection. It's a cross between Bowie and Guided by Voices. So
can't go wrong with either of those. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you think of Black Star? Were you a fan?
I liked Black Star.
Yeah.
It's a hard record to listen to, man. I will say that because the visuals.
Yeah.
I can't listen to that record without thinking about how David Bowie's dead.
I know.
Yeah.
You know?
The timing
and it's
was
a
very
bummer.
unfortunate. Yeah. Like it came out and it was a week?
Less than a week.
and
Right?
he
I think it was
away.
less.
Yeah.
I think it was like a weekend. I think he put that record out
On a
and
Friday and died on a Sunday. That's right. It was because we were doing an episode that night.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Yeah, it really was a few days. And, I had been such a big Bowie fan. And most people that know me, if they're like, what's Shelkett's favorite? It's David Bowie.
Yeah.
And when I found out that he had passed away, total just weeping in the car.
Yeah.
Like I was so depressed.
Disbelief, man.
It was.
It
I
hit me harder
it.
It hit me harder than I've been hit in a while for as far as like a musician that I really loved that passed away.
Me too.
That
Me
and
too. And
Leonard Cohen also, though, for me, like as a songwriter, he's always been there. I mean, yes, he wrote Hallelujah, but he wrote so many so many incredible songs.
Oh yeah.
Those two affected me more than in my life I've ever like felt, like when you see the news.
Yeah.
Like you see people talk about like remembering Kurt Cobain. Like I do remember it, but at the same time, we were young enough that like it was kind of more of a, oh shit, huh?
Yeah.
And you just kind of like, processed it. Whereas like Bowie, that's huge.
Well, it's like so many more years that we have of like digesting the material they put out over the years.
It's crazy. I mean,
I agree. I do think though with Bowie and and Leonard Cohen, I think it's also this mortality, and I think you see that like, man, your heroes are dying too, and and you look at Bowie and you're like, he was 69, and when you're 20, that seems old,
right?
But
right.
when you're in your early 40s, you're like, shit, man.
Yeah.
There isn't much time left.
Yeah.
And, Bowie, I really do think that, and I used to say that he stopped making great music in 81, but that I kind of changed that assessment.
Yeah.
Because I do think, as we got into the 2000s, he was doing some really cool stuff again.
Yeah.
That I liked.
Yeah, Heathen was a great album.
It was.
Heathen is fantastic. That's probably the best of all the newer Bowie stuff. Really, I really do think that record's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Bowie was just. It was one of those things that like it was such a huge influence on me. I adore every single record that I have. And I've listened to them multiple times.
Yeah.
Some of them I have multiple copies of.
Yeah. This is one that I know.
You want to talk about record nerd collecting? I mean,
what do you have the most of?
It's like I got The Man Who Sold the World. I've got, the cartoon cover, with him kind of kicking his foot up, and I've got the Ryko double clear vinyl reissue, which is rare too. And,
oh, wow.
It's just like, just one of the top artists all time for me.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's awesome.
Black Star though it's a good record. It really is.
It's like, I think it was one of those weird things of like not hearing Bowie in a while. And when it came out, I was struck more by how odd it seemed to me. And then it was even more odd and eerie 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then now it's like haunting. Like what you were saying earlier, when I listened to it, it's almost kind of hard to listen to that record without just immediately thinking.
It's like he's singing at his own funeral. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny because, you'll hear more David Bowie on the radio now, at least where I'm at,
Yeah.
than I think I ever heard. And, some of his classic stuff comes on, just, oh yeah. And it takes you a minute. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But like when, if you hear, that Lazarus song, instantly it's like, that song is like his death to me. And
Right.
it's just, it's just so
It's
gorgeous.
like mixed emotions on hearing it though.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
But
like
Leonard
Leonard Cohen's last record, it was very similar. He put it out, and I mean, it was a little longer in between, but You Want It Darker, and he'd made comments like in the press right when he put it out. He said something about, I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
And then like maybe 2 weeks later, he made another statement that said, maybe not. Maybe I'm ready to go a little longer. And then it was like a few weeks after that, he passed away. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, and he's been openly talking about this. Like, and then it's just those stories, and then linked with the record, because I was listening to You Want It Darker the other night and caught myself kind of like zoned out on the thought of, oh shit.
Yeah.
This just happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm with you guys on the Leonard Cohen too. I mean, that's another artist that I got into in the really early 90s, and I found 2 of his records in a thrift store, and I bought them just being intrigued. I used to do a lot of my shopping at thrift stores. I would find great stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Can't find anything anymore.
No.
Nothing. It's dried up.
Yeah. It's become a thing
anyway,
enough. Yeah, those are gone.
I got, I don't know, maybe Songs of Leonard Cohen and some other Leonard Cohen record. I can't remember what the other one was.
Songs of Love and Hate.
But there's a song. It's the early stuff. It's the late 60s stuff. It's the folk kind of.
Like Chelsea Hotel.
Yeah, Chelsea Hotel, number 2. That one,
Oh.
Yeah, and the Stranger song. That's the one that always got to me.
Yep.
It is my favorite Leonard Cohen song, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
He had a way of like crafting words to it was perfect. It was just perfect the way he did.
Oh yeah, the words. I mean, it all hinged on the words.
Yeah,
really. But what made him so really really great is he was one of those writers that knew how to manipulate the words with inflection of the tone of his voice. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me, I always had this saying. I was like, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, that
really gets people.
Correct statement I've ever heard. That's totally right.
And you can have some pretty corny lyrics, but if you deliver them in such a way that is so honest and vulnerable,
real, really.
Yeah,
real,
yeah,
that it connects with people, and you don't have to be such a wordsmith to be a great songwriter, and but he was both, and that's rare. It is definitely rare.
It's so true. It's man, I can listen to Leonard Cohen on any day, and it makes me sad now every time. But I mean, it's also because I feel like, as a songwriter myself, he was the first person I ever heard and thought, man, I want to be able to write like that.
Yeah, it's a good staple to.
He's just, I mean, even the 80s stuff, like I'm Your Man.
Yeah.
And like some of it was just, or First We Take Manhattan. I can't remember the name of that song. But it, like, just the keyboards and stuff, I don't know what that era was of Leonard Cohen, but it was still interesting and it was still amazing.
Yeah.
What is that song called?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I will.
Leonard Cohen was one of those artists, though, and there's very few of them that have had that musical journey that has been interesting the whole way.
Yeah.
And, the 80s really derailed a lot of good artists that were at their prime in the 70s, and that 80s influence of
try something new,
bigger, new technology. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it more polished. It really affected everyone.
Yeah,
and some artists,
Phil Collins did okay.
Yeah, but there weren't a ton that really came out of it and really came back up.
Right.
There's a few, and I think Neil Young, Tom Waits.
That's true. Yeah. Tom Waits always.
That endured that and still were making really, really great, meaningful, interesting music.
Mhm.
I think Springsteen is another one. I think that, I used to write off Born in the USA. I mean, I really didn't like that record, and it's way better to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the
it really
production
is.
doesn't sound as 80s to me now.
Exactly.
I don't know why, but that record's fantastic.
It is really good.
Brilliant.
I kind of had a Bruce Springsteen revival like
Me
3
too.
years ago,
Me too.
where I realized what was it? Darkness
on the Edge of Town is just like
that one. Like
it's my favorite.
I went back because we had a bandmate at one point in time. Derek and I did, and this was just 3 or 4 years ago. And Brian was mentioning Bruce Springsteen at one point, and he was a big fan. And again, I mean, I've never really been a huge Springsteen fan. I enjoy hearing his songs when I hear them.
Yeah.
Never a big fan. I went back and listened to Nebraska. And
Nebraska is phenomenal.
But between that one and Darkness on the Edge of Town, I was sold again. Like, holy shit, how have I been? Like, I'm not saying that I've ever like hated Bruce Springsteen, like, oh, that guy's terrible. That guy, like, but I've just never given it a chance.
I think I just probably
was never
mentally put him in a category that
like Bon Jovi.
like
with Bon Jovi
I
for some reason.
pigeonholed Bruce Springsteen for some reason, and then I was like, okay, I need to give this more of a chance.
I don't
And
know
when
why
I
with
did,
Bon
I was like,
Jovi,
holy
but I
shit,
guess
this is incredible.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi. Oof.
Bon Jovi, no.
For me, with Bruce Springsteen, my first memory was Born in the USA and Dancing in the Dark and Glory Days. It was Born in the USA. I remember being in like 5th grade, and there was a kid that had a cassette. He's like, "Oh, it's Bruce Springsteen." I'm like, "Why is it a picture of his butt?" Like, I don't get it, and I just it just didn't speak to me. I mean, it wasn't kid music,
No.
and I just never and his follow-ups after that, Tunnel of Love and Human the 80s records, they weren't impressive, so I had nothing to really hold on to. It wasn't until I don't think I really appreciated Bruce Springsteen until I got into my 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same way that exact same way happened with me.
Yeah, and I think everything has a time and a place, and when I got it, like, it became one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
And
I went through
when
a
I got it, I
massive
really got
Springsteen phase. Yeah, like when it clicked with me, like I listened to him nonstop for a few months. Like it kind of got weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And while you're listening to it, you're like, where was I?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't I get this sooner? But it just, Springsteen, I don't think was ever, I think he was cool in the 70s, but where we all had come from, I just don't think he was kind of in that kind of alternative kind of mindset.
No.
And, you look at his ideologies and his political beliefs, and he's very much so. We just weren't aware of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's one of those artists that just, when he puts out a new record, I'll buy it, without even hearing it.
I mean, I think you can write off stuff for a lot of your life until you reach a point in your life to where your mind is ready to accept for what it is,
Yeah, that's true.
Like sometimes it takes you getting to a certain point in your life for something to click to you.
Yeah. Because when you're in a punk rock band at like 20 years old,
right?
Bruce Springsteen's not what you want to get into at that time at all.
No, because it will get you nowhere.
Right.
You will get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could, but at that time, you're more worried about your social status and.
It's cool when you get older and you stop caring about that whole
I know.
like, social status thing.
Exactly, and that's kind of where I am. I mean, I like what I like, and I am always looking for new things, but I want the new things to be reminiscent of what I like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're not, it takes a while, but when I do discover something that I feel is unique and fresh, it's very exciting. But it happens, infrequently at this point.
Yeah. Not as regular as you'd want.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Such is life.
All right. Well, we've got some questions here that some listeners have added. Some of them are pertinent directly to you. Some of them are just general. So we'll go ahead and ask, and then we'll discuss if
it's a
that's
fun
cool with
game.
you.
All right.
All right. First comes from Jim Hankey. Got to open for Liars Academy once in Milwaukee. Always loved No News is Good News. Any chance for a repress of that album on vinyl, even if it was a limited Kickstarter only type of thing?
So Jim got to play with you back in the day. That's cool.
Well, that's awesome. I don't know. I think that record is owned by Equal Vision, and if they want to repress it, they will.
Yeah.
I think that would be unlikely. I think the record didn't find the audience that they had hoped. So, it's not like we were a huge band back in the day, and it's just there's such a huge demand. So I would love to see it repressed. I would love to see them press Demons. But,
I would too.
Me too, man.
Good
God, I love Demons so
and
much.
the Trading in My Life EP. I really want the Trading in My Life EP.
I know.
It's a good one.
I did talk to them quite a few years ago, and they were willing to license it to me to have me press it. But again, it was really expensive because I wanted to do like a double LP type thing. But where's all that money coming from?
Right.
But as far as a repress for No News, I don't think so. But the good news is I think you can find it once in a while pretty cheap. So if you don't have the first pressing,
my copy, which is a first pressing,
mine too,
from Discogs. So luckily that happened.
I think I got mine from Discogs. I got the brown marbled version.
Yeah, so there's a black, brown, and blue. I've got the black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of the blue and some of the brown. I was still selling them at some solo shows because I had like a stack of them.
Yeah,
nice.
And I was like, well, these are doing me no good. People might want them, and I sold them every show I did. But then I realized I was like, I better not sell any more of these. I don't have that many left.
Yeah.
So
hold on to a few of these things.
It's
Put them
funny.
in the vault.
I have a fun little story about all the records I've done. There were times about a few years ago I realized that I'd given pretty much everything away, and I didn't have any of my own music, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I guess I just thought it would always be there and plentiful, and and then you realize like, oh, Ryan, if you want the 100 copies on clear vinyl with the first Cross My Heart, you're going to pay for that, dude.
Yeah, you got to buy it back from someone on Discogs.
You can't just email some guy on eBay and be like, hey, man, I sang for this band. Can you cut me a deal? Like, no, they don't care.
My God.
Yeah, I started like asking around friends, like, hey, does anyone have the first blank 7-inch? I don't have any. And friends came to my aid, and, I got a couple copies. So
that's good.
But, I don't see it happening for No News. I mean, unless something happened where, Liars Academy became this kind of found band, that people were like, wait a minute, this band existed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of those bands that like just becomes this like, can't believe no one ever bought their record and they were so good. I don't see it happening, but we can. We'll see.
Man. It's
you
a
never
solid
know.
record. You never know.
We'll do our best to get it to that point.
Absolutely.
Because I'd like to see it get a repress as well.
Me too.
I'd buy it too.
I would. Yeah, I still want the brown.
Yeah.
I'd buy a copy too, as long as it wasn't on brown, black, or blue. I'd get a different
Yeah, there you go. All right. Steve Donahue says, if someone was not familiar with your work, what would the first thing you would recommend be to check out first?
Ooh, good question.
Oh man, that is a good question.
Damn.
I would probably say Demons, Liars Academy Demons.
Yeah?
And the reason I think that record kind of encompasses everything I've ever done. And that's why the record's a little scatterbrained and a little, doesn't flow, but the songs are fantastic. But, it's just, there's there's kind of singer-songwriter songs on there. There's aggressive songs on there. There's, experimental songs. It really does cover the whole spectrum of what I've done. So I would say if you wanted to get a good picture of what I was about, that would probably be a good place to start.
Okay.
Damn, that's a good answer too.
All right. Joey Gabaldon says, what do you think of the word emo? And do you know about the bands that recently brought it back? And this in quotation marks.
So the new incarnation of emo. Yeah.
I have no idea what the new incarnation of emo is. I didn't know if it was even still a thing.
Definitely.
It is. It definitely is a thing. And there's some good there's some good bands. Now I'm a fan of the old emo and then the middle emo, which I hate even calling it that, but
what generation of emo? It's like
the middle emo section I didn't care for. And then the new stuff that's coming out that's being branded as emo, I sort of like a lot of it.
Like Tiny Moving Parts.
Like Tiny Moving Parts, like You Blew It, a bunch of those bands like that.
So that's new emo.
Yeah.
Because I'm still confused on the term emo.
I'll have to check some of that out. But yeah, I thought that emo had pretty much kind of has been vaulted. Really.
It's alive and well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What do I think of the word?
Yeah.
I think the word was always kind of, it was just too broad.
It totally is. It is.
Yeah.
That
It
is
was
the
too
best.
broad to really capture the amount of different bands that, I think the term really just became an identifier with just they wear tight black shirts, they're emo.
Yeah.
Versus, because, you can look across my heart and you can say, yeah, I could see it. It's got chimey guitars and the guy's singing about love and he's got screaming a little bit. But I mean, generically, it was a rock band.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, Liars Academy was a rock band, It became even more rock as we, matured. But, with punk, I think there's a pretty easy identifier, there is a portion of punk they okay, it's fast-paced, aggressive,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a feeling. Whether or not you want to get technical and say, well, that's true punk and that's not true, that's mall punk, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think as far as a musical style, it's easier to identify. I think emo was very broad. I also think it was just one of those terms that was easy to kind of pick on bands.
Yeah.
And
you're so emo.
Yeah.
That was a,
yeah.
that was a
I
thing.
mean it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know. I was there. At times it helped, and at times it hurt.
Yeah.
And
It's like for the amount of credibility and new fans it can give you to be titled something like that, it could also push
away.
so many
That's
people
true.
away that are into the hardcore and punk stuff, even though they would love the stuff
Right.
that you're doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Fucking labels, man. That's what I was saying
I
about
know.
subgenres.
Subgenres are shit.
It's bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, some of my
Twinklecore.
favorite music in the world is shoegaze, but I even hate the term shoegaze.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Right. Because there's a few bands you associate that with, and it's dream pop, fuzzed out kind of
chill
angular
wave.
guitar stuff, and yeah.
But for me, we've had this conversation so many times. For me, shoegaze music means different things.
Yeah.
Because I know some bands like My Bloody Valentine. Okay,
Right.
they're shoegaze.
But then you got Slow Dive.
But then you got Slow Dive and
Swerve
then
Driver. Then you got
newer bands like
Ride.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like Nothing is amazing.
Yeah.
And or Deaf Heaven.
Yeah.
There's one, Deaf Heaven.
Well,
and they're-
Death Heaven, they call that's like black metal, right?
But I've seen it referred to as shoegaze.
I just hate
Because-
genres. I just like to listen to things
I know, right? That's the
and
thing.
decide what I want
Wow,
to think
for a
about.
band to be called black metal and shoegaze,
I know.
that's
Have
pretty
you-
exceptional.
Have you never heard Deaf Heaven? Because they're
But I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
it's interesting, man, because they are. I mean, they're very heavy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so beautiful that when you're listening to it, you're just like, okay, so that the drum beat, blast beats.
Yeah.
It's just like constant blast beats that would normally be super aggressive, but somehow
Yeah.
It's kind of soothing.
But then you got all these people pissed off because they're labeled black metal, but they released an album with a pink cover, and everyone was up in arms about that.
Right.
I'm like, I don't understand.
I know
who you people
silly.
are.
Yeah. Who is it that has a problem?
Yeah.
Just, if you enjoy the music, enjoy the music.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, you should check out Deaf Heaven.
It's
I feel
interesting.
Like, I feel confident in, saying, I feel like you might at least enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check it out, and I promise you I will.
Awesome.
Next time we chat, I will give you my update on Deaf Heaven.
Awesome.
All right. Favorite venue in Baltimore and why?
That's an easy one. It's the Auto Bar.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's such a great staff. When I go into the Auto Bar, I know a lot of people. I feel like at home. It's a great place to play. The Auto Bar used to be a smaller venue that would hold maybe 100 people.
Yeah.
And then they bought a newer building, maybe about, I would say 15 years ago at this point. But it seats about, it's about 500. It's got a great stage, great sound, and it's a great venue to play. And I've played there a bunch, and I really do enjoy playing it. And,
nice.
I haven't played it in a while, and, hopefully I can play again sometime.
Yeah, you should probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. For another 10 years goes by.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's a couple general questions we can all weigh in on here.
Okay.
If you could have drinks with any two people, past or present, who would they be? FDR and Hitler would be an interesting combo. I don't know if I'd want to be in a room with Hitler.
I don't think so either.
But all right.
Okay.
Any
If I
two.
could have
That's
drinks.
a hard one.
That is a hard one.
That's a really obscure, hard question to answer.
It is.
My brain's like in. Well, I know one of them for sure is Oscar Wilde.
Okay.
Oscar Wilde is at my table of
All
three.
right.
I love his writing, but now I'm trying to think of someone like more contemporary too that would bring that conversation. Like,
I think he'd be talking over your head the whole time.
oh, he would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't understand a word Oscar Wilde said. It would be too witty.
Yeah.
Oscar Wilde and Morrissey at the same table.
Oh God. Wow. All right.
That would be a very interesting night.
It would be,
Yeah.
and I mean, it would mainly be the two of them talking at themselves, But I would probably enjoy
Be
that.
like a fly on the wall in that room. I feel
Exactly.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would interject. I mean, because
Yeah.
I love both of them dearly. So, I'm a big Morrissey fan.
Yeah.
It's
I'm trying to think in modern times here, and just two of my favorite people to hear speak.
Jim Morrison and Anthony Kiedis.
That's not true. Two people that I would just like to hear have conversations, even if I didn't take part in it whatsoever, would be Stephen Fry and David Sedaris. For some reason, I like the things they say, so I'd like to have a drink with them.
It's a good one.
There you go.
Damn.
Well, the only thing I can think of is just it's just real sad. So I'm going to save that. But
Oh, God.
yeah, I don't want to go. When you say past and present,
Yeah.
I'm going past. But I don't know. I mean, I think that for current type people, I would love to have a drink with Harrison Ford, and I would love to know. Is he really Han Solo in Indiana Jones, or is he really the crotchety bastard that I think he is?
Yeah.
But do you really want to know,
I-
or do you want to just live in
That's true.
hope that he is Han Solo in Indiana Jones?
Maybe that's good. I think he is. I think he would be a tough one, but it's funny. I would say I'm going to stick with Star Wars on this, but I would love to have a drink with Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
I think Mark Hamill is such a great enthusiastic presence, and just to sit down and to hear some of those stories would be really, really great.
Yeah.
And especially if he did it in his Joker voice would be even better.
Oh, it's so terrifying. I saw
I'll
him
go
read
with
a
my
Trump
Star
tweet.
Wars ones there.
Yeah.
He read a Trump tweet or a few Trump tweets in his Joker voice, and I saw it the other day on Facebook, and it was terrifying.
It's so good. It is so good.
I haven't seen this shit. I've got to see this.
Oh my God. It's I mean, obviously you know how evil Trump tweets are, and then when you hear Mark Hamill reading them in the Joker's voice.
Yeah.
It's just perfect.
That's amazing. I've got to
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good.
Terrifying.
The funny thing, just to get a little nerdy, and speaking of the Joker, I have this comic book. It was a Lex Luthor comic book. It was a one-shot from the late 80s. And the cover was a parody of Trump's biography. What was it?
Art of the Deal?
Business
Art
or
of the Deal.
something like that.
Yeah, Art of the Deal.
The Art of the Deal. Art of the Deal. That's what it is. And it. The funny thing is that I really feel like we've elected Lex Luthor. I think that's what we have right now.
It's crazy.
This businessman who's totally evil.
Oh yes,
and
barely more hair than Lex Luthor, though.
Well, no, but he's actually bald.
I know.
It's not real.
Well, I bet you underneath of that, it's there's Lex Luthor.
Yep.
So that's my feeling, and that's as political as I'll get on this conversation. But President Luthor.
Yeah, we've done that a lot. We found ourselves like
we'll start getting into like big time well, here's what I think, and then like, oh wait, this is a music podcast. We need to just dial this back just a little bit.
When the election started, we said we weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
But then in music news even, it's become like this thing where he just crosses himself into all of it, and it's just you can't help but talk about the guy.
Right.
It's true. It's true. It's hard to get away from, and it's every day it's a new crazy thing. I mean, every day.
Yeah,
it
literally.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in constant fear of my CNN notifications on my phone.
They mentioned it last night on SNL. They made a joke that made me cry because it was something that I've been saying to Brittany for weeks.
Yeah.
Is since he's been elected, not a day has gone by that I haven't gotten on my phone a CNN news alert. And it's become normal now to where every day you get an alert and you're like, oh, there's CNN.
I haven't watched.
Trump did whatever because it comes directly to my phone.
Yeah.
But last night on SNL, they made a joke saying,
that's awesome.
Can we go back to when I didn't get a CNN alert that freaked me out every single day?
Yeah. The only thing I saw from last night's was the Sean Spicer, the second one. It was pretty great.
So good.
I'll just say this. I think I share a lot of the country's sentiment where I'm just blown away that this is even happening.
Right.
Like, it's a
how
big
did it
shock.
get here,
So,
kind of,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This one's this one's an interesting one. If Brand New and Taking Back Sunday were to get into an all-out brawl, who would win? Would the outcome be different if it were today and in early 2000s?
I don't think the time
well.
would
Have
matter.
a great week.
I've played with both of those bands. I mean, if my memory serves correct, I would probably go with Taking Back Sunday.
That was my initial thought.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking as well.
I was thinking Brand New just because I love Jesse Lacey, but I mean, I love Adam too.
Yeah. Taking Back Sunday has more of an edge, I think.
Right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brand New initially popped in my head, and I said, "Oh yeah," but then there's also more in Taking Back Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And more
More
guys.
members. So
Yeah.
There you go.
there it is. Taking Back Sunday would probably win. Both great bands.
Oh yeah. All right. Are you a National fan, Ryan, by chance?
I am.
Okay. So here, this one's good one. So what are your favorite 3 national records? Your number one choice should accompany a defense as to why, especially if Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers is not it. Just kidding. Love the show. All right. So top 3 national albums.
Damn.
I know mine.
Yeah, I do too.
My favorite.
Okay.
My favorite is High Violet. Which is, a lot of. I want to say Boxer or I want to say Alligator, but I listen to High Violet more.
Yeah.
And those songs hit me more. So that's my absolute favorite. And I believe because the first time that I saw them live was right before that album was released, and I was hearing those new tracks.
That's true.
And I was just blown away, and I could not wait for that album to come out, and then it did not disappoint.
Yeah.
But number 2 would be Boxer, and number 3 would be Alligator.
Crazy.
Yep. Sad Songs is so great, though. I hate not putting it in there, but
you're a bastard, but that's okay.
Well, that's me.
All right. How about you?
Well, the first record I bought, what was it called? Is that Trouble Will Find Me?
Yeah, Trouble Will Find
it called?
You.
Is that it? Okay.
The one with the girl's face on the cover?
It's like
like in the mirror.
Kind of,
Yeah, that one. I really like that a lot. But it's a hard one, and quite honestly, as I say, I'm a fan. I really only own that one in High Violet.
Yeah.
So I've kind of listened to other songs like on Spotify, but I don't really know the albums, so I can really only give you my top two.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's gonna be a toss up between those two. My wife's is definitely High Violet, but mine might be the later. So
yeah,
and that's probably because that was the first one I
picked up on.
Heard.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful
but
album.
It's really close. I mean, they're both really good records. So you mentioned Alligator and Boxer as being in there, and you didn't mention the Trouble Will Find Me. So
right,
maybe I need to check those out too.
I love Trouble Will Find Me.
I do too.
It's just more of like a. It's not an easy listen, I guess, is what I would say.
See, okay, here's my list. Let me interject my list here, because so mine would be Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers is my favorite. And it wasn't even the first that I heard because it's an earlier record. Alligator is second. That was the first record that I heard by the National.
Yeah.
That was what made me obsessed with those guys.
All the Wine is the first song I ever heard by him, and that's off Alligator.
Then I went back to Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers, and it had this country twinge to it.
Yeah.
That there's something about their indie rock with like a slight country edge on some songs that I loved, because they started out a little more alt country.
Yeah, the self-titled album was more
self-titled was
folky.
Very folky. Yeah. And so then Trouble Will Find Me is 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get Trouble Will Find Me because for the longest time High Violet was right there.
Yeah.
But there's something like Sea of Love is an amazing song.
Oh, the whole album.
It's all about Sea of Love.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, that song has got me at like, I think that's my favorite.
It's
because
so
of that
good.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like those 3 records between Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers, Alligator, and Trouble Will Find Me, I feel like you gap all of that sound that they've developed over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no bad list.
There's no bad list.
National albums,
the National
really.
is amazing. Every record.
All right. Here we go. Pliget says, is there any possibility of Demons and Traded in My Life seeing a pressing? Which we already went over a little bit.
We did. But that's cool that is a thing that the people want. We
the
all
people
want this.
demand it, Ryan.
Yep.
So I don't know what to tell you.
What do people want? They want it repressed on vinyl?
No, they want Demons and Trading in My Life
Yeah.
as a vinyl pressing.
On vinyl.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
He's so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have seen Equal Vision kind of re-releasing certain kind of anniversary things. The only way I could say if anyone wants to see this happen is reach out to Equal Vision and demand it to them.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's the only way we can get this done.
Demons needs a vinyl press.
I've been signing lots of petitions lately, so this will be just another one I add my name to.
Seriously,
right?
I mean, all they need. I mean, they could just do a very limited pressing, and it would satiate and excite a lot of people.
Very
much.
I
totally agree with that. All right, last question here is from Purge Before You Binge. Mr. Adam Morgan says, hey, Ryan, just wanted to say that the self-titled Cross My Heart EP is one of my very favorites. Did you have a particular favorite song from that EP or temporary contemporary that you really enjoyed playing live?
Ooh. That's always a hard one.
Well, I would say my favorite Cross My Heart song is probably the most popular song or the most well-known, and that's It Doesn't Take That Many Pills to Sleep Forever.
Yeah.
And that song just has a great feeling. It's got this explosive chorus. It's a really great song to play. That's the song that I've done outside of Cross My Heart at a couple solo shows, and I think even Liars Academy did it as an encore one time. So,
nice. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I would say that song is probably still my favorite. That song really sums up Cross My Heart for me.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, it was all about that day that I wrote that song. That's when Cross My Heart was defined.
Yeah.
Because of that song.
Wow.
So.
Damn.
That's a good one.
And that name. The title's good too.
It's a good title. Well, that wraps up the questions, man.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't thank
Cool.
you enough for being on the show.
Yeah,
with
man,
us.
you've given us an awesome amount of time, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday evening that you could have been watching the Grammys, dude.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I know. It's totally cool, guys. I really had a fun time talking to you, and if you guys ever want to talk again, just let me know.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Anytime you'd like to, we are always available for some nerdy record or / music talk.
Yeah, maybe
Always.
next time we can skip the talk about my bands, and we could just talk about record collecting a little more.
Yeah, we could even get into Star Wars if you want to. I'd
That's
be
true.
totally in
We're
both
both
as
good with
well.
Absolutely. That's a whole. I've got a few hours. We could just talk about that.
Yeah.
And
there
that,
we go.
I'll speak with you later, but I'm going to send you one of our cork slip mats that we've got that also has Star Wars back felt lining.
There you go.
I feel like you might enjoy that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we'll talk later, and I'll get you one of those.
Do you
Awesome.
have a
Sounds
song from your catalog that you would want to end the show with? We always like to play a little bit of something from somebody, but you've got a plethora of things that
You
we
have
could
a lot of
pick
music we
from.
could choose
So,
from.
do you have a song?
Guys, I'll leave that to you. What's your favorite thing? I mean, however you feel is a good way to end it. I'll leave it to you.
Awesome,
Surprise
man.
me.
All
Okay.
right, that's what we'll do then.
Absolutely. Ryan, thank you so much for giving us this time, and we will do this again soon.
Yeah, really anxious to hear the new stuff
Awesome.
you got working on, and,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully we'll talk again.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take
All
care.
right, take
Thanks,
care,
you
man.
too, man.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
And there it was.
Yeah, great interview.
Amazing interview. Thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to leave you with some music here because that's what we always do. And as you heard, we just got
We
permission.
get free reign.
We have
here.
free reign to play whatever we want. So
I'm
since
playing
it
Steely
came
Dan
up-
Asia in its entirety.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you for ruining it. I had a way better reveal than that, but that's okay. So yeah, we're gonna play a song that we actually discussed.
Yeah, we will.
Because why not? And
He
it's
said it was his favorite one to play in the Cross My Heart
and it's
days.
such a great representation of
It is.
a lot of. I mean, again, unless you hear all of the bands,
Right.
you're not going to get the full experience. But Cross My Heart and Liars Academy had a lot of like crossover
Yeah.
appeal, if you will. So we're going to play It Doesn't Take That Many Pills to Sleep Forever. And again, this is Cross My Heart off the self-titled and EP. And this is, I mean, this record,
It's
it's
phenomenal.
fantastic.
It's really great, and it still holds up as a great album.
It really does.
while also making me feel very nostalgic.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thank you to Ryan for giving us his time tonight. And this is Cross My Heart.
Yeah.
And we hope you guys enjoy it. And we love you, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Fare thee well.
Fare thee well.
Love you. Bye.
I packed up all my things. How many things do I need? Tomorrow, I'm moving from Payne Street. I guess this is goodbye. And I'm moving on my own 2 feet just to get my direction. And the movement of my own 2 eyes catch a reflection of me. time.